This is this is Comic Burrito
500.
Woo! 500. Oh, but
You didn't hit the. No.
this is Comic Burrito 500. Livestream. I'm Todd.
Cool.
I'm Nick.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers to 500, fellas.
500.
Thanks, everybody. You guys are the best. I love each and every one of you, except you. You know who you are. I don't love you.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. But
Todd,
everyone
why
else.
are you like this to me?
Yeah, you know who you are, Cole.
Cole, yeah.
Just saying.
Sorry
We all
that I
know.
said black cherry was the more practical flavor than raspberry.
No, we said fanciful celebratory. I grabbed raspberry because we're celebrating 500.
Oh,
I'm also coming to you live from my dining room / kitchen because I was technically going to take a day off, but I wanted to pop in and say thanks, everybody. You guys are the best. Really appreciate it. 500. Oh, my goodness. So I won't be staying long. But you guys are the best, and I
thank
love
you
you.
all for subbing us up.
Yeah. Hi, David. Hi, Sam. Hi, Steve.
Poser.
Hey, Poser. Well, so
I don't know why, but on that little green thing, that eye looks very large. Hi, Jared.
We may be talking to David Andry later. They might be. Nefarious is saying hi to the chat, so no hi to Nefarious. Not just kidding. Hi, Nefarious.
Now, with the 500 giveaway, we have very low submissions.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to win something,
giveaway.
basically,
We're really
Yeah.
really
Right now, there might be one person that just is going to win all three things.
we'd like to get at least.
They
3.
should know who they are.
Yep.
Yeah, I would
No.
think that we said 2 weeks from when we hit 500, so that will
Yeah.
probably be the 31st. So you have up until that day.
We do need a link
Even
for
if
that.
you just do
'cause
one, just get one entry.
Twin Blades.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Ghost blades.
But yeah, no. You, answer those questions, get in, and basically maybe guarantee yourself something.
Yeah.
At this point. Or go to that thing and compete.
Yeah, tell your friends.
I went to Comic Signal today, and I walked in, and Andrew was like, "Nick, isn't this your second time here this week?" And I'm like,
No.
"But I did pick this up. I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet."
Oh.
But he was very excited, also. And I got the last issue of Grass Kings, so that's going in my
Nice. Cool.
I realized I didn't have the last one. I'm like, I can't stop that or start that. I got Saga 53.
Saga.
We watched Sonic last night, so
Nice. Saga.
and then I got Killer Be Killed number 20. I'm still missing 19.
I thought you were going to say 1 through 19.
I do have 2 issues of number 20.
Of number 20, you do?
I bought both of the covers because one is blank.
What's up, Andrew?
Hey, Flash Ray.
Send me your address.
Oh, he already sent it to me. I got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay, never mind. 3 is the magic number. 3. I picked up something from the comic book shop. Nope, nothing's there anymore. Nothing is behind me. I picked up Excellence at the shop because I went through it and they had 1 through 10 still in the stack.
Really?
Interesting.
Yep.
You know
So
why?
I
Because I
grabbed-
pulled it and then I dropped it at number 1.
And no one else grabbed it apparently.
And they
'cause
just didn't cancel my order. Did they only
They
have
had
one?
they had a few of most titles, and then a couple of them only had 1 left. But 1 they had 2 of, so I grabbed 2 of them.
That one I have. I liked it.
Yeah.
I just
I'm excited because they're bringing it back, so I'm excited to get into it, and then because it's also been optioned, right? Something like that. Yeah.
No, they just got it. Or was it that? I thought they just got a Kickstarter for it.
I think I got optioned too. I don't know. I googled it, but I don't remember. So yeah, I grabbed that. So that was something that was old that I picked up that I haven't read before. I'm excited to get into it. Oh no, but I'm glad you got it, and I'm glad you're safe. Well, okay.
Oh, sorry. I
And
just
they
had to
do.
click on
That is
that.
true.
Yeah, he's really cool,
Down the
and
same
his
thing.
entire family works there. It's pretty awesome. Sometimes I won't even know that he's there, and I'll be talking to somebody else, and he'll come in and start talking to us about other things, which is fun.
That is fun. All right. Well, I'm gonna dip. Make
Have
sure,
fun at the
yep,
fire.
it
Don't
is
touch it
there.
anymore.
I will
Yeah,
not
don't touch
touch
the
my
fire.
fire
Wow.
pit anymore. Yeah, you can't really see it, but this finger hurts a little bit because
And hopefully there's not a lot of like bugs out there.
yeah, that would be unsettling if there's a lot of bugs there chirping.
They start chirping like really loudly.
Yeah.
Like really loudly.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like you're saying goodbye while also possibly segueing, but that couldn't be the case.
I mean, this might be one of the best ones that we've had in fluency, right?
It's pretty
Well,
good.
it would have been had we not referenced.
Yeah. But we have to keep tradition alive.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I guess I'll see myself out whilst maybe something else happens.
Yeah, well, have fun. Have a good night.
Bye. Good night, everybody. Thank you for the 100. You guys are the best. See you guys Wednesday. Bye.
Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Hello, David.
Have you
How's
ever
it going,
seen
guys?
your book drive a burrito car before?
I've never seen that before. That was the first.
You're welcome.
Hopefully not a last.
Yeah. So we kind of mentioned it, but the resident, and this is David Andry. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
I reread all 8 issues of this today. And it's
Nice.
just as good as the first time that I read it. So
Nice. You can remind me what happens. I haven't read it in a while. I have a pretty notoriously terrible memory, so people have
is
to
this kind of
remind
going
me.
to be like who's
Yeah,
the guy that
you
writes
guys-
Game of Thrones? He has to call like fans to tell him stuff
Yeah.
about the character
Yeah,
because he
check
forgets
the
about him.
message
You're just going to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, so
So what
So what's
happened?
the dog
And
doing
then
right
wow, that
Yeah.
sounds cool.
Yeah. Why were they jumping off that tile spiral building?
That's so
Yeah, dude.
weird.
You just look up like fan theories, and you're like, "Yeah, that sounds good."
Yeah, that sounds right. I'll go ahead and co-opt that. That sounds like a good idea. I should have thought of
You
that
were
myself.
totally right. Yeah, you were totally
Yes. You're finding out all my secrets. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I mean,
Well,
now-
I
now
wrote
it's
it.
totally learning.
I think I wrote it 2.5 years ago. So I've written about 20 different things since then. So it gets refreshed in my mind as the new issues come out. I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool.
That's funny and interesting, I guess, to like hear. So, I mean, you're saying like you've pretty much wrote the ending already. It's already everything's completed.
I wrote issue 10 at least a year and a half ago.
Oh wow.
And then, just in case and kind of for my own, because I'm kind of, I guess you call it a pantser, someone who writes by the seat of their pants more than an outliner. Okay. So there's planners and pantsers, and I'm more in the pantser. So I wanted to know what happens after the end. So I actually wrote 5 more issues. So I've written up to 15.
Oh, that's awesome.
They won't probably see the light of day, but they're there if they need to be there. But yeah, 10 I wrote a long time ago, and 1 I wrote 2.5, 3 years ago before because I pitched it to Vault a year and a couple of months before it came out. So it takes a minute. Comics are not fast. Comics are slow, and then for like letters and colors, it's a mad sprint constantly. So yeah.
Yeah, I even heard Matt Kent was saying how like one time, I think an issue of Mind Management, he colored it all in 24 hours, and he said it was the worst day of his entire life.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. I mean, I think more and more people are getting to realize that how important letters and colorists are, and hopefully they'll get their due on covers and with credit and all that. But yeah, I mean, the turnaround that even on a book like Resident, that it's been pretty well on schedule, other than our massive break between the first and second arc. even those guys got to turn stuff around like fast. But Jason Wordie will dump like 6 pages in a day up on our like server, and it's the most magical, majestical coloring you'll ever see. And then Darren will bust out the letters in a day or two, and it's like, you guys are. You should not be this fast and be this good. It's something
Right.
something wrong is happening because you're too fast and too good at the same time. You shouldn't have both those qualities. So yeah.
I have been making a joke about Jason every time that I mention his name. So maybe someday you can tell him this if you want to. I always say he chose the wrong profession and he should have been a letterer.
Right? It makes or a writer.
Yeah, a writer too, but either
Yeah.
or.
Right. Yeah. It's not Jason Colory. It's Wordy. I guess
So
it's
the one
an
thing we did kind of
ironic
skip.
name.
I don't know if you want to quick for people in the chat that might not have heard of Resonant, if you just want to give your high level pitch of it.
Okay. Well, yeah, my name's David Andry. I'm the writer of Resonant from Vault Comics. It's a post-apocalyptic family drama, some call horror, about a father who has to go out and find medicine for his critically ill son. So he has to leave his kids to venture out into this post-apocalyptic world. And in this world, there are waves of energy that kind of force people to follow their deepest, darkest impulses that come at random intervals. So people carry cicadas with them called chirpers because they interact with the waves before they come and kind of act as a warning device for people so they can prepare themselves for the waves. And most people have to, tie themselves down, bind themselves up somehow so they don't harm themselves or others. Our main character, one of our main characters, Paxton, the father, he is able to enter a meditative trance to avoid the effects of the wave. So it gives him a little bit of a boost up, a little bit of an advantage on people who have to bind themselves up with rope or shackles. So yeah, we follow the father as he goes out into this world trying to find medicine, and things happen to him to hinder his journey back home. And then we follow the kids as they try to survive without the father. So it's really, at some points it's 3 different storylines, but it's mainly 2 storylines, the kids and the dad.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to. Sometimes I have trouble with books that do that, but yours I've been able to, since it's just the 2 main things, and you kind of go couple pages, and it's kind of easy to still follow along and remember, and it always picks up right where it left off. It's easy to keep track of it.
Yeah, I mean that's mainly for me, so it's easy for me to keep track of it too. 3 with when in the first volume, when the 2 main kids are separated, there's 3 storylines, so that got a little funky to balance, but in the second arc they're back together, so it makes it a lot easier for me.
It's actually funny that you mentioned horror, because this is not on the horror imprint for Vault, correct?
It is not. It is not a Nightfall. This came out, I believe, before Nightfall. I don't know if it would have been a horror imprint anyways, because I don't know. It's not. I guess if people call it like a Quiet Place horror, this is horror. I see it more as like post-apocalyptic being its own genre within sci-fi, and it's hard to have a post-apocalyptic story without some levels of scary monsters or something.
Yeah,
it did give me a little bit of Walking Dead vibe, and with the waves themselves and their nature, there's kind of a purge element to a lot better than the Purge movies, I think. But so I could kind of see somebody drawing ties to that, but it's not like a straight up.
Yeah, I mean, I've never. Funny now that I'm co-writing a lot of things with Tim Daniel, and he's been almost exclusively horror writer. I'm writing a lot of horror right now, and I never thought I would be a horror writer. I never thought of Resonant as a horror until people started reading it and talking about it, and I heard other people pitch it to other people as a post-apocalyptic horror. I was like, okay, I guess I'll lean into that. I'll take it. I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah, I mean, like, kind of like similar to like what Nick said, where he was talking about like what the Walking Dead feels. That's kind of what I got for that. And that's even the Walking Dead for me is one of those books where I look at it and I'm like, I get that it's zombie, but I don't think of it as horror as much, even though I think it technically is a horror book. And I just noticed as I'm reading those like 3 most recent issues, they show all the Nightfall books directly after it. Those are the only ads. I think it had the plot. It had I Walk with Monsters, and maybe I don't know.
Autumnal.
Yeah, Autumnal. Like those were the 3 ads in there. So it's just like,
I guess
be in that imprint. I guess I didn't. I mean, I was just looking at the back of the first trade, and they don't have it, and I think it's on the back of like the plot. So
yeah, it's definitely not a Nightfall book. But I'm not sure if Nightfall was around. I don't remember what the first Nightfall book was. I'm not sure if it was the plot or something came before that.
That might be.
But yeah, there was no discussion of Nightfall when I was pitching Resident. I don't think it was in their heads yet. Like I said, it was years. It was like a long time ago.
A lot of shit's happened since then.
Yes.
I mean, is it hard to like see that and like go through and have to like wait, I guess, essentially as long as you have been for this? Because I even know, I think issue 9 was supposed to come out on Wednesday, and you had mentioned that it got pushed back a few weeks when.
Yeah, I think 8 got pushed a couple of weeks, and then everything else kind of fell back. It's been a freaking pandemic, so stuff comes up and people are, one member of the creative team has something go on and it just kind of snowballs. So through like no one's fault, things just happen, and that doesn't stress me out at all. I do get anxious waiting for it to come out, but I also, I don't know, don't want it to end. It's getting close to the end, and I know there's only 2 more release days, and as my first Diamond book, and my first non-self-published book, it's pretty exciting to have it hit comic book shops across the country, and even if people aren't picking it up, they look at the cover and it's like, hey, that's what I want to do my entire life was to have a comic book out. So yeah, I get anxious for it to come out, and then I also am like, oh God, when that last one comes, it's going to be so sad for a while.
Yeah, because I even know like when issue 8 came out, I immediately sent the cover to Nick, and I was like, I know you haven't read this, but I feel like this cover is going to force you to read all of this book alone.
And I got to my shop and they were like, oh, Cole said that we should show you this. And I was like, this is really cool, but it's an issue 8. What am I going to do with this? I'm like, I do like this cover, but no, thank you. And now today after reading it, I'm like, no. I'm like, I should have picked it up, and they didn't have any of the back issues either. So now I'm on eBay.
Because I went back and bought all of the back issues that they had after I read the first trade.
Yeah, I'm not. They might still be orderable through Diamond.
Check with them.
I know they ordered a good amount for me.
Yeah.
Issue 3, I don't think they can order from Diamond right now.
Issue one first printing is sold out completely at the Diamond level. I'm not sure about the variant cover, the one that does the Y the Last Man homage cover. There is a second printing of issue 1 that should still be in stock.
Because they were able to order everything they didn't have except for issue 3, and I was like, that seems super random. But
okay. You kind of like, they look at the numbers and they won't overprint, because overprinting is just throwing money away. So they kind of like guesstimate. So a lot of times, like, issues 3 and issues 4 of series are sometimes harder to find than issues 1, because 1 they print a butt ton of, because they expect all the sales with that one and then diminishing sales after that.
That's what was it Berserker Unbound? Trevor just bought issue 1 and 3, and it was like, no, you gotta, because now he's like, I gotta find 2 and 4, and it's like, no,
good luck.
Yeah, you got to find them all together, or or you're buying them single from all over the place.
Yeah.
But I do have one Herald that's still out there trying to find issue 3 for me in the wild. So
that issue 8, the Fern cover was something that I wanted to do the entire series. So it was just finding the right place in the story where Fern had a little bit of a starring role. get her on that cover. So that was like my one ask, because Fern is based on, I think most people who follow me on Twitter or whatever, and probably a lot of people here don't, but it's my dog. It's my dog.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so yeah, she's the.
I figured, because I read one of your other books, and there was a pit in that as well.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta ask. I have a pit. I have a one-eyed pit. I'm like, all right, I gotta have this one too.
I mean, I'm gonna stick her in as many things as I possibly can. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And for the people that aren't following him on Twitter, if you look in the description below, his Twitter is there, so you can see pictures of his dog.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna see mostly my dog on Instagram. She had her own Instagram for a while. My partner Lauren, she updated it for she did it for 1 year. And then it just got a little bit repetitive, because my dog's name is Busy Bee. All Busy Bee does is sleep and then eat and then sleep. So it's hard to get like a decent picture of her doing something, because she never does anything. So after a year, we're like, okay, we'll shut it down. It exists there on the internet if people want to see it. Yeah, and I still send people that link to check out my dog's Instagram. And
I'm sure Poser will find that Busy Bee Instagram and link it in the chat for everyone to enjoy.
It's like _busy_bee or something like that. We lost the password, and we don't know the email that we used to set it up, so we can't even change it if we wanted to.
It's just gone.
It's just there. It just exists.
You can never delete it either.
Yeah.
Yep. All you can do is just start reporting it. And
that's right.
You want it down and just hope that they click on it. Yeah.
This has inappropriate content.
They keep spamming me.
Yes.
I keep doing that to at Comic Burrito on Twitter, because I want that name. Somebody has it. They don't even use it. They have zero tweets.
They're just sitting on it.
Every once in a while, I just report it. I'm like, yeah, they're spouting hate speech.
then just somebody else like is gonna get it and just like turn it into something different, or still not use it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's how I pass my time.
Yeah, I know that Rodney Barnes, when we had him on, he was talking about how he put his daughters in most of his books whenever he could too. So that's kind of interesting to see, like when people try and cement things from their lives into their books.
Yeah, Tim's putting his daughters in like all of our books, and like, oh, this is based on my daughter, and then this other book, and this is based on my daughter. I'm like, that's cool. That makes it easy. We have a real life reference.
Yeah. So I know earlier you kind of mentioned working on some horror stuff. Can you talk about any of it?
I can't yet. I cannot yet. It's we're hoping for 2022 on some of this stuff. Again, comics is slow, so you got to like be in production for a long time before anything actually happens. But Tim and I have been working. So Tim and I will have a book out through Vault later this year that has been kind of announced as a creative team. So Vault did this announcement at the beginning of the year, which all of their creative teams for 2021, and they got guys like Cy Spurrier and and so they have like all these people that have been announced, but none of the titles have been announced. I think Mike Morisi's new one is going to be announced within the next couple of days. He's been showing some teaser images from that. So that one I will be able to talk about first, and it's me and Tim and David Dubois. He has never done comics before. He's an illustrator, does like concept designs, character designs and stuff like that, and his stuff is like ridiculously good. So for internet detectives, if they look at like my posts, maybe from several months ago, and maybe his posts and Tim's posts, you can maybe stitch some things together as to kind of at least some idea of what's happening. This is not a horror. I'll tell you, it's not horror. And it was the first thing that Tim and I started working together on, and it's something that we came up with together, the concept together, and kind of co-wrote it from the ground up. So a lot of the stuff that Tim and I are working on now is stuff that Tim has brought to me with either a broad pitch or some ideas we fleshed out together. But this one is like the pure birth from both of us. So it's pretty exciting.
And sorry to make you repeat that, but which Tim is that again? Somebody.
Tim Daniel.
Tim Daniels. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So Tim Daniel from Vault, who wrote the plot, co-wrote it with Mike Morisi, and he's done Curse and Spiritus, and Tim has a bunch of credits and has designed kind of the look and logos for pretty much all the Vault books, and he's responsible for the books looking so pretty. So he does all that stuff too, and then also is an awesome writer. So I'm kind of a one-trick pony, and he can do all the tricks.
Well, I mean, you're working on horror now too, so maybe you'll be a two.
Oh man, yeah.
So we had somebody earlier wanted to ask you. There's been a very heated debate between mostly me and Nick about a concept, and I'd really like to get your thought on it.
Okay.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I'm going to say no. I don't think hot dog is a sandwich. I don't, and I know people. I get it. It's meat between two pieces of bread, but it's its own thing. It's its own device.
It's transcended.
Yeah, I don't go to Subway and order a hot dog. I don't, or any sandwich shop. You go to a burger place, and again, burger is not a sandwich either. I'm sorry. A hamburger is a hamburger. Hot dog is a hot dog.
I think the original hamburger was called the hamburger sandwich, though.
Yeah, well,
sorry.
It's evolved past it. At some point we were walking around with flippers and gills, but I don't still call myself a fish.
It's true. That's true. So I think debate settled. Thank you for finalizing.
That was easy.
And
let's just let's update the wiki. Let's kind of just put it in stone. Hot dog, not a sandwich.
Not a sandwich.
Not a sandwich.
So there we go.
I'm a little upset, but
you're like, well, this interview is over. Good night, everybody. We're down to 499 subs, so
I just unsubscribed from our own channel because I'm upset with David's answer.
You're like, oh, let me burn these copies of Resonant. That's fine.
Are you so upset that I can buy your singles of Resonant on?
There you go. Sell them your 3.
Why you gotta bring up that I still don't have a 3 yet? So I know you did mention you have these 15 issues, and you said they're probably never going to see the light of day, or the extra 5.
Yeah.
The reason why you say that, I guess.
Just indie comics in general. You don't see a lot of long series, and typically, the readership falls off after first issue, and kind of you have a little bit of just kind of a natural eroding of your single issue subscribers. People wait for trades and things like that, so it becomes less and less financially viable to go past 5 or 10. And when I pitched to Vault, I believe I pitched them 10. And that was kind of like that's kind of like the original agreement. And I'm happy with the ending at 10. So I'm whether I'll fight really hard and say let's do it, or just kind of let them decide, because it becomes a little bit of a different. I told the story that I wanted to tell in 1 through 10. And so for me to stay interested as a writer, it had to change a little bit. So what I wanted to explore in 11 through 15, because 1 through 10 is kind of like me exploring my fear of fatherhood and responsibility, and having, if I do not have children because I am so freaked out by having children. So that's kind of like me kind of exploring that. 11 through 15 is me exploring grief and how people deal with grief. So it becomes a little bit of a different series. It's same character, same world, 2 years in the future. So we get a little time jump. And then you'll see a lot of the same characters, but not all of the same characters.
I figured by that pitch, that's going to make me seem like I'm going to be pretty upset and probably yelling at you on Twitter once the 9th or 10th issue comes out, depending on what happens and where it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, you just got issues 1 through 4?
I just got 1 through 4.
Nice. I know a guy who needs issue 3.
I have number 3.
Guys gonna have co-ownership of it.
Yeah.
I saw
that'd
it
be cool.
Weekends and holidays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
so
now...
we'll see. I mean, the future doesn't know. We don't know what the future holds. I know, Skylar has been awesome on the second arc of the artist Skylar Patridge has been awesome on the second arc, and I know she loves drawing it and would like to see it probably maybe do some more too. Yeah, it's just finances, man.
Does she do the coloring too?
No, that's Jason, not colory wordy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
Was there a reason you did the artist switch up between volume 1 and volume 2?
Yeah, the first artist quit.
Oh.
That would
yeah. That's kind of you kind of have to at that point. And Ale was awesome on the first 5 issues are dynamic and amazing, and he really established the look of the world. And Skylar has kind of picked up that baton and adjusted her style a little bit. So there's not a really, like sometimes a new artist picks up and the book is very jarring. It's like, well, these characters don't look anything like they looked before. And she's done an amazing job at kind of weaving her style in with his kind of kinetic style and keeping the colors the same and the letter the same. Has really given a cohesion to the book. And I don't think it's very jarring it's not like the difference even in like The Walking Dead when you go from Tony Moore to Charlie Adler. That was a big switch. That was a totally different looking book. And I think Charlie's art actually matched the story better than Tony's. And I think Skylar has done just an amazing job. Ali, he only wanted to do 5 from the beginning, and we were trying to kind of convince him to do 10, and it just didn't work. And so when he decided not to do it, and he was up front with me, and we talked a lot and everything. I wanted to have Skylar on the second arc. That was like there wasn't for me another artist I wanted at all, and I was working with Tim Daniel, because he does a lot of the assist with the art at Vault, and I'm like, he's like sending me names. He's like, how about this person? How about this person? How about this person? I'm like, yeah, they're cool. Yeah, I like them. Yeah, that's good. And then nobody was getting me like excited again because I was, kind of devastated and crushed when Ale left the book. Honestly, he had totally valid reasons, and I don't know, and I don't hold it against him, but on the same hand, it was so exciting to have a book out, and like all the stuff was like getting good reception and people were digging it, and then it's like, oh, let me throw this giant stumbling block in your way. So I'm like, well, I'm like, I went back to when I pitched Vault, who were my names of the people that I saw drawing it, and Skylar was like top of my list. So I'm like, if we're going to have this break anyways, because it's going to take time for a new artist to get on board, and they're going to have to clear out whatever they're working on and start this, because drawing, 5 issues is, at least, 5, 6, 7 months of work. It's like taking a new job. So a lot of times you can't just jump right in. So I'm like, we're going to have a little bit of a break. If we're going to have a break, I'll wait for Skylar. I'll wait for her schedule to clear up, and I don't care if it's a year. I'd rather have it be the book that I want it to be than just to go with someone who is good and available. Right. I wanted because I know what Skylar brings to every project she works on. I know the passion and the care that she puts into her stuff, and how much she loves this genre. And with Beck as hopefully a strong female character, I know how important that is to Skylar as well. I'm just waiting. I don't care. And when she said yes, I'm like, awesome. And so, yeah, that was like kind of reinvigorating for me after kind of the disappointment of that of losing the first artist. So I couldn't be happier. Like all of her inks are done for 9, and it's like every issue she's getting better, and it's just ridiculous. You know, I was so nervous about issue 8, and everybody like dug issue 8. Yeah, and I'm like, nothing happens. It's so boring. I'm like, it's just a bunch of talking. And I get
really
people.
good talking though.
It was good. Yes. Well, thank you. I'm glad it was good talking. But I had established this pace in Resident that was pretty. It was pretty relentless. I didn't give people a lot of chance to breathe through the whole thing. And I'm like, all right, this is like issue 8 is like a deep breath. And I think people, especially people who read it pretty straight through, were like, man, this is nice to have a little bit of a breathing space in this one. Yeah. Well, get ready. 9 and 10. There is no breathing in 9 and 10. It is balls to the wall as much as I can, like straight up climactic action movie sequences.
Nice.
I mean, your pitch for the final 5 is making me I'm still stressed out about it because I'm not ready for what I'm gonna have to deal with in this book.
I'm not gonna kill the dog, so don't worry. The dog lives forever.
Well, I assume the dog will live. The dog always has to live, but somebody else isn't going to live.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's funny because I think I first had heard about this book because you were on Bruce and Stephanie's around Christmas time, I want to say.
Probably. I'm on Bruce and Stephanie's.
Maybe November.
Yeah. Maybe both.
You had Skylar with you, and then I bought the first trade, and then I looked up I was making a post on Instagram, and I looked up the artist, and I was like, that's a guy. I'm pretty sure that it was a female that was the artist. But and I didn't really even notice the change after picking up the singles. But when I read it all today, you can tell when you go from 5 to 6 immediately. But it blends in really well too.
Well, there's kind of a tone change going on at the same time, so it kind of feels like a natural time to do it. Really.
Yeah.
It works.
She I don't understand how she can do it, how she can say, okay, I'm going to kind of change the way I draw a little bit for you. That's magic to me, how people can draw a period. So she is an extra magician. She's like a super magician. Because the transition, while not completely seamless, it can't be. It's so smooth that a lot of people say, is that a different artist? I thought it was the same person. Yeah, but I love Skylar's faces, and especially through issue 8, you got to see a lot of character acting with the characters in there, and she really just, Beck does an eye roll. You know how hard it is to do an eye roll on a comic page? That's near impossible. It's like the one of the worst things you can write in a script is the character shrugs, because it doesn't look like anything, right? And so the second worst thing, other than horses and bicycles, you'd have to do something ridiculous like that. The
emoji.
Yeah. So the other worst thing you do is eye roll, and I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in there and see what happens, and she nailed it. So yeah.
With your scripts, do you write pretty? I guess I don't know how to describe it. How do you write your scripts?
So I think what you're asking is it full script, or is it kind of like loose or Marvel method, that sort of thing? Because I write a full script, so panels and pages. Page 1, panel 1, this is what happens, and then I give it to Skylar, and then she changes a bunch of stuff to make it better, and then I get the credit for it. So it's pretty cool.
Perfect. It's a win-win-win, right?
Yeah, exactly. The writer gets all the credit. It's like
the artist does what they want, and it's a good product.
Exactly. So I always I gave her the caveat right off the bat. We talked a bunch before she started the book, so we could get a rapport and start to kind of know each other, so we could really work together. And I told her, I'm going to give you a full script because that's the only way that I can do it. That's the only way I can see it in my head is I visualize the comic page and put everything on the page, how I think it's going to look. Sometimes I'll say this is a big panel, small panel. but I usually leave that up to the artist. And I told her, you have total freedom to change whatever you want to change, you know, and especially during fight scenes, Skylar has a little martial arts experience. So she'll put in cooler stuff than I wrote, and I'm like, yeah.
I wrote that. That's exactly how I meant to write it.
Yeah. So then once she finishes, I'll rewrite the script to match what she did. And then, because then it goes to the letterer, and the letterer has to letter in the appropriate panel. And so if she's adding panels, you know, if the script says this page has 4 panels and she drops it with 7, right, the letter is not going to know where to put the speech balloons. So I'll rewrite the script, do what's called a lettering pass, and get that to the letterer before he goes to work or she goes to work. Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
So
do you find that helps, like with your, because are you kind of pace oriented then? Like you have it kind of planned out?
Yeah, I mean, when I started working with Adrian Wassel, the editor, Resin had a much slower pace. People reference Walking Dead a lot with it because there are so many similarities to like a post-apocalyptic world where people find little communities and, you know, those bad guys. You know, you can't really avoid those comparisons too much, and I'm not going to try.
I mean,
you know,
it's completely different while being similar. It's really not. I mean, it's definitely not Walking Dead. Like it's very different concept, but it feels familiar at the same point.
Yeah. So the pace, you know, when I started working with Adrian, the pace was much slower, and so I had it kind of everything stretched out. There was a lot more family drama, relationship stuff, and then it just like we're not going to get to end where we need to get in the issues you're going to have. So I basically compressed the first 7 issues into the first 5. Okay. So with some tweaks to where I wanted the first arc to end, I kind of was that's where I wanted the first arc to end, with Ty and with Beck, and I think Paxton's was a little bit. I think I wanted him further along, like on the ship, instead of in issue 6 and issue 5. So the pace started to really pick up when I did that, and then I just had to kind of continue with that pace through the whole thing, you know. And I'm glad that I did, because it gets me to an end at 10. I wouldn't have had a good end at 10. It would have been like, you know, issue 10, page like 15, and then and then a huge text block, and then this happened, and then you turn the page, it's like, oh, it's the end.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just like 10 black pages and then a thought bubble or whatever.
Yeah, something weird would happen. So everything I think worked out really, really well. You know, I'm real happy with how it came out. It's the comic that I wanted to make, and it's the characters I wanted to have in there, and they did all the stuff I wanted them to do. So yeah, I couldn't be happier with the end at 10. So if that's all I get, then we're golden.
Right.
That's awesome. Then I'm still nervous though.
I'll send you the scripts. If it never goes, I'll send you the scripts. You can read about all the terrible things that happen to people in it.
I don't want to.
Because it's terrible. It's so terrible.
I want to read that, so you can send it. I'll check that out.
Yeah. So if you were given the chance to write like any, like I guess either like big 2 or like standing IP, is there anything that you have worked out as a story you would like to do?
No, and I've gotten asked this question before, and it makes me sound kind of like a douche, but I'm going to go ahead and roll with my answer, because I don't think of other people's stories. I never think of like, oh, you know, what would be a cool Spider-Man story? I think, what would be a cool David Andry story? And like, you know, because I want to. I was on another podcast and talking about kind of my influences from the '90s, and I guess it's because I was there with like Youngblood and Wildcat and Spawn, and the coolest stuff when I was collecting comics back in the day was people creating their own characters. You know, I read The Punisher, I read like Spider-Man. I read Alpha Flight. I'm kind of a Marvel guy for the most part. I read those, but they weren't like the coolest thing on the shelves at that time. You know, it was all the Image guys doing totally wild stuff, and you know, I basically collected all of it, and I had all of it, and I think that really and you know, I entered a bunch of Wildstorm talent searches, you know, writing scripts and stuff when I was probably 18 or 19 years old, thinking I'm going to be like the next Rob Liefeld, even though I can't draw.
Just do pouches, learn pouches.
That's right. It would be the Pouch Warrior. So yeah, you know, if someone calls me up, if Marvel or DC editor is like, hey, you know, you interested in doing anything with us? I'd be all, hell yes, I'll come up with something cool as fast as possible. You know, the things I would probably gravitate to would be like the B or C list characters. You know, like the Question. I really like the Question from DC, and like Checkmate from DC back in the day. I know it's getting rebooted as something different, but like random small characters like that. Like give me a B C lister from Marvel.
Well, that way you can still kind of explore new stuff.
Yeah, you know, people don't have all these expectations on the characters already. You know, right. I don't need that level of. I like interacting with people on Twitter, and I like being active and like answering questions and having people like. But I don't need the stress of like saying, "Hey, you're ruining Spider-Man." I'm like,
right.
I don't. I can't ruin a fictional character, bro. It doesn't work.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
I mean, I feel like even if you had a C-list character, there's still going to be some troll on the internet that's going to be like, man,
actually, in 1973, in Adventures in Mystery, that character said he would never do that. So, no, come on.
No,
comic books, guys.
I don't think that's a douchey answer at all. In fact, I think you're at least the second or third person that's I don't really have any drive to do that.
Yeah, I think Cleveland was the first one that said.
Yeah, I have very limited time to work on this stuff. You know, I have a full-time job. I'm old and tired all the time. It's like I got Saturday and Sunday mornings, and that's it. And I get my head down, I do some work, and then go on with my day. And I'm not going to sit down for an hour and say, oh, what would I do with Spider-Man? Because it's not going to serve me as well as spending my time working on my own stuff.
Yeah. Do you spend a lot of time reading others?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I got like 24 short boxes right here. Yeah, that I'm in the process of. Yeah, I just still organizing from. We bought this house about a year and a half ago. And got these all out of storage. And, you know, when you're in storage, you just throw them in there randomly as you buy them. And so now it's like the long process of getting everything alphabetized and in numerical order. So, yeah, I mean, I love comics, man. That's why you write comics, because you love comics. So, you know, I'm still a Marvel indie guy. So
what are you reading right now that you're really liking?
I'm reading a lot of stuff right now. What am I really liking? That's a different question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I buy because I buy it, and there's stuff I buy because I like it. And the second list seems to be getting shorter and shorter for me. So, yeah. I am kind of a Vault fanboy. So I really was digging the plot. And you know, the last issue just came out, and so that was awesome. And I Walk with Monsters is amazing, and other than like the plot and my comic, probably my favorite Vault comic. I've
been loving both of those books too.
Yeah, Shadow Service has been great, and I just had the first trade. I need to get the second trade of Sarah and the Royal Stars. That was awesome. You know, I'm buying X-Men, anything Hickman. You know, I'm a total Hickman mark, so, you know, give me all the Hickman you can. I want all the graphs and stuff, because I really appreciate someone whose brain works totally different than mine. You know, I can't. There's no way I could balance the storylines he balances. I mean, like I said, I had trouble with 3, and if you're at East of West, there's 17 different storylines in there, and I'm like, dude, I don't care. I'm confused.
I get the most bang for my buck with Hickman because I can like right now I could go read East to West and I'd be like, oh, this is awesome. Like I feel like it's the first time I've ever read this.
Yeah, because it was so confusing that I forgot it.
My brain just doesn't contain it, so it's like I get to reread it all the time, and it's great reading it. But like
and Nick Dragotta's art went
great.
I mean, he was great in issue 1, and by the end, that dude was insane. Like his art is so freaking good.
I let my son, he was 12 or 13 at the time. I probably shouldn't have let him read it, but I let him read it.
Totally worth it.
You gotta check this out.
Yeah, I read all in. I read.
It's like, Dad, and like just
keep going. Yeah, at least you didn't let him read. At least you didn't let him read Saga. That one's a little bit rougher, I think.
Not yet.
Giant hairy testicles and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of my favorite books ended recently, like Giant Days. I just love Giant Days. East of West. I mean, those were the ones. In Saga, those were the ones that I like looked forward to grabbing at the store. And I haven't found a lot of stuff to take its place yet. I'm picking up stuff here and there. And again, I'm forgetting like 1,000 things because I have terrible memory. It's just the worst. Yeah, I put this on Twitter a while ago. I am reading the Eternals, and I did like the first, I think, 2 issues. And Isaac, is that Isaac doing the art on that? He's sick.
Yeah, I don't know, but the art's sweet in that. I think personally, I guess.
Yeah.
The third issue, there's this whole space fault thing that's hilarious. At least it was to me. Like, it was my favorite part about the book.
Well, since the pandemic, I don't go to the comic shop as often, so I've been buying a lot less. I only go like once every month, maybe every 6 weeks. So I have a pull list at 2 different shops. Shout out to Empire's Comics and to Big Brother Comics in Sacramento. We have enough shops that I could have. I have enough shops in Sacramento that I could have pull lists at like 4 different shops. We are like comic book rich out here. Yeah,
I think we have 7.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And I mean, we're Grand Rapids. We're like Grand Rapids, Michigan, so we're like not even a top 50 city, Yeah,
but I mean, we have probably 12 that I could probably get to within 30 minutes. Yeah. One just recently closed. That was like a coffee shop / and they got hit a little bit.
One's more like just a bookstore that has
every single one in Sacramento has their own vibe. So Big Brother Comics, it's like a magic. They do a lot of Magic the Gathering. They do like new release, whatever they call that, when they have a new set come out.
I know what you're talking about. Like you build a game with the starter packs, I think, or whatever.
Yeah, and then Empire's the owner there, Ben, has like events every week. Like he'll have like cosplayers come in and people sit around doing sketches, and he does like a women's mini convention, and Free Comic Book Day is basically a convention there. We'll set up I've had a booth there a couple of times and just like sold my self-published stuff. And then there's like the Great Escape games, and there's like some that are like role-playing game based, and so it's really, I don't know, Sacramento's a cool comic book haven.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's always nice when you have that many shops and they're all like able to still like survive.
Yeah, and both Big Brother and Empire's like bought a shit ton of residents, so
that's
I love
awesome
them
too.
even more. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we've had like some people talk about where like they'll have their book and they'll go to their shop and they won't even have any copies of it, like, which I mean, I guess that's not nice to laugh about that, but like, like a lot of people have that and it's kind of a bummer sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of like a lot of shops don't like carry Vault still.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Marvel, DC, Image, maybe Boom, maybe IDW, maybe Dark Horse. That's about it. Anything past that the first premiere page in Diamond, they don't really go into. And I think a lot of the best stuff is being done at smaller companies now.
Yeah, I know
I
the shop that we all go to actually just bought an expansion so that they can start putting in more indie books, because that's been like the issue for them. Like, so many new indie companies came in that it's really hard for them to decide which ones to pick to buy books from, because they just don't have the shelf space for it.
Yeah, I mean, even Image has. It feels like I don't get anything from Image anymore, and I don't know what's happening over there. I can't think of a book that I buy, and I mean, it used to be my entire pull list was all Image, and now I do have a lot of Skybound books. You guys were talking about Excellence earlier. I do have some Skybound books, which is technically Image too, but I think of it as Skybound.
Yeah, and that's kind of the weird one, because I know like there's something really weird with Saga where Skybound sells their merchandise, but they don't sell the book.
No. So you want to know? Because I volunteered at the Skybound booth for 10 years.
Yeah,
so
please tell us if you know.
I gotta see. Tell me if anybody who works for Skybound is on the stream right now.
I don't think that we're in that territory, but
yeah.
Not right now.
I don't know. You guys had Scott Snyder. You guys had Scott Snyder on this freaking show. I'm like, how do I come on after Scott Snyder? That's not fair. I need to be the warm up, not the follow up to that guy. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few in between you, so at this point, it's kind of
okay.
We already forgot about him.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we're only thinking of you now.
All right. Love the one you're with. Okay. So Skybound's Robert Kirkman's imprint, and so when The Walking Dead was like about to become a TV show, he wanted his own, and Walking Dead at that time was pretty much carrying Image. Image was, kind of a little bit in the dumps, I think. And he wanted his own imprint, and so he started Skybound, and he began to hire his own staff. Okay. And basically his second hire, so Cena Grace, who was his editor, who's a comic book writer and artist, has like the one Image book that I buy right now. Getting It Together, I think it's called.
Is technically not active anymore.
Yeah. And so his second hire was my best friend, one of my best friends, Sean Kirkham, known as Big Clutch on the internet. And he was the director of business development. So Sean they wanted to do their own product, wanted to do their own video games, they want to do all this stuff. Image doesn't have any of that. Image doesn't have infrastructure. They publish books, that's it. They take a flat fee from every creator, every book that they put out. This is their cut. The rest goes to the creative team to be divvied up however the creative team decides. So Image doesn't have like much in the way of like PR merchandise or any kind of like media where you're gonna say turn it into a TV show. It's up to the creative team to handle that themselves. Well, since Skybound had been doing it, for 8 years, they started to approach people or people approach them. I don't know how it works. And they can do their merch because they have the pipeline to create merch. And since Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples own Saga, they can do whatever the frick they want with it,
Yeah.
And so they're like, hey, look, this is what we can do for you. We can make T-shirts, we can make action figures, because we do it. We already do all that stuff. We can just put your stuff on that stuff, and then we'll sell it for you, and you'll get this X amount of money. And so they did so they did action figures, T-shirts, they did a Lion Cat statue, we got pins, we got, you name it. And there's a ton of Saga stuff. And they do Saga, they do Monstrous.
They even do like a video game, I want to say. Like
they have the Walking Dead Telltale game was like game of the year the first year it came out.
Yeah. Well, they have I think it's called Yoda Leahy. I don't know. I tried refining it, but it's a girl on a bike.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a gaming division where they have like both tabletop games, and so if you've seen like Red Flags, the trolley game, I think, or something like that, that's all Skybound as well. So they do like board games. They do a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I remember I went to C2E2 2018, And I feel like every purchase you bought from Image that was over $25, they just gave you a copy of Oblivion Song. Like, here's a copy of Oblivion Song. And it happened to be the secret variant.
Yeah, I might have been the one giving you that because I might have been at that C2E2. I haven't been to all of them.
That's sweet. Yeah,
but I went to one of the C2E2s, probably close around that time. Yeah.
Hey, David, Bruce wants to let you know that he loves you and that Stephanie likes you.
Oh, Stephanie just likes me? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. They're my best friends, so it's okay.
Yeah. Earlier, Chaos asked who would you pick number one over me, Nick, and Bruce and Stephanie, but I did not ask you that because I knew that you probably wouldn't pick up and pick us, and that would make me even more sad.
Bruce and Stephanie have been reached.
I want him to pick between Bruce and Stephanie on our show.
They reached out to me. They reached out to me like way at the beginning. I think like Resident 1 or 2. They're like, "Hey, this is awesome." I'm like, "Thank you." And they've been personally responsible for I don't know how many new readers. Because they talk about it every single week on Comics and Beer Friday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern time.
I mean, that's how I got the book because they were talking about it. And I was like, they've talked about this enough. I should at least get the first trade. And worst case scenario, if I don't like it, I can just be like, well, at least I gave it a try. Yeah, right.
And here's the thing. I appreciate any single person saying any single good thing about my book. Again, this is my first book. I've self-published for 5 or more years. I've worked teeny tiny cons. I've worked steampunk cons, any place I could shill a book at. I have tried to get any of my books into anybody's hands. And there's sometimes, you spend $75 on a booth, you buy like $10 worth of food, and you sell one $5 book that you make $1.72 profit on. So you know what? If someone says, "Hey, I like your book," I really appreciate it. And like if they say, "Hey, to other people, you should buy this book," I triple appreciate that. And so like I don't take any of this stuff, for granted. And the fact that I have a book out is somewhat of a major miracle. I was saying but it's like it's literally something I never thought would happen, even though I was hustling my ass off to make it happen. There's so many people doing that never get a chance. The fact that I got a chance is pretty amazing, and I'm really fortunate to have a lot of good people around me that were like pulling for me. And if people continue to pull for me, I'm gonna try to put out as much good stuff as I can while people let me put stuff out.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I mean, I know, like, I think this might have been the first real, this and The Plot were the first 2 like vault books that I really started getting into. And now it's almost like, it makes me sad that I almost have to grab every vault book just because the quality of the books that they're putting out is like, of that level, like, I mean, if there's like a certain genre that I know, like, I'm not super into robot-y stuff. So I kind of was like, well, Giga's probably not going to maybe be for me, but it's still probably a solid book.
Well, and and I've put out like polls on Twitter and stuff, and one of the major factors of people picking up a vault book is the fact that it's a vault book. And I think it speaks to the strength of the creation, the curation and the creation that Damien Wassel and Adrian Wassel have done. They were very selective in the books they picked. You open a comic book company and you say, "Hey, we're taking pitches." You're gonna have 10,000 pitches in an hour. I mean, there's no lack of people trying to get books made. So the fact that they have built a readership and a loyal readership within 3 years is pretty remarkable. I don't think you see people who are fans of like IDW or fans of Boom. They're like, okay, you see a Boom book, okay, this is going to have probably a certain amount of quality, but I don't know there's people that just buy every Boom book that comes out, but there's tons of people that buy every Vault book. And it does he do that?
Yeah.
I mean, I see a Boom book. I'll probably take a look at it at least.
And I mean, I think too, the good thing that they've been doing is at like the slightly different level is like they have a fairly like the last few books they've had like very big creators too, which like that's awesome. Because I remember, and I completely forgot about it because it hasn't came up, but you remembered like they like had pitched Spy Spurrier was doing a book for Vault, and I was like, oh, cool. I guess I'm gonna buy this book no matter what it is, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Coda is probably one of my favorite comic books of all time. If you haven't read Coda, read Coda.
I will go read Coda then.
Yeah, I own all the singles, and I went the other day to the comic shop and bought the trades. There's 3 trades. I bought them all so I could read it again without looking through this mess behind me.
Yeah,
it's one of the it's one of the most beautiful books I've ever seen, and has a lot of heart. And yeah, it's one of those that like, damn, I wish I could write this good kind of a book. So yeah. I think they have done a really good job, though, at choosing their shots too. You know,
yeah.
I mean, Resident has 0 name recognition, right? If you looked at the issue 1, it's me, who nobody knows who the hell I am. Ale, who had done Death Orb, I think, and maybe something else before that, but very little, and that's it. I mean, a colorist and a letterer, you know, who have been around, but there is nothing to drive people to that book. Right. That's that easy. Oh, this is the next Scott Snyder book. This is the next Cy Spurrier book. This is the next Hickman book, right? The name usually sells the book. Even more so, I think, than the pitch. The name sells the book, or at least gets people to take a look at it. There was no names attached to this. The only reason people picked it up was because it was Vault. So, yeah.
It's crazy now. I didn't even realize, like, because Darren Bennett is on this, and I feel like there's so many books that I've been reading in the last few weeks that he has been attached to, because he did the lettering for Upgrade Soul, which I read last month, and he did the lettering for Noctera, which is the new Scott Snyder book too. Well, I mean, technically it says and World Design, but in the letter, Scott talks about Darren specifically, so I assume he does the lettering. I don't think
it's his studio, and he'll if his name is on that, he does. And like, I think he does Excellence too. Which, if you look at Excellence, the lettering on that is like he does more work than he should on a lot of these books. Like he's doing a lot of heavy lifting. And yeah, I love the dude, and he's just done an amazing job on Resonant as well. You know, and a book that needs to be so visceral and have so much of a sound quality. You have to be able to hear the pages. He really brought that out, you know. I didn't. So when I'm reading the proofs, you know, I've never had a note. I've never had a note to letterer, or I've never had a note to Jason or Darren, other than like, oh, this tale is going to the wrong person because it probably wasn't right in my script. But you know, I mean, I looked at it and I'm like, you know, you're always. As me, I was nervous getting those first pages back. So I'm like, oh God, what is this comic book going to look like? You know, it's like, this is my first comic. This may be my only comic. What is this going to look like? And then I opened up those first couple of pages, and I'm like, well, shit, I'm good. I got no problems. If anything, if it's a terrible story, at least it'll look pretty.
I will say, Resonant is one of those books for me, which I think. I mean, a lot of props to artists but mostly colorists, that I can almost enjoy it just if I completely glazed over just page turning. It has some great color pops where you get into like reds and oranges, and then all of a sudden it's just bright blue and, you know, really airy and open. And then it goes back to dark, and it's just it's a fun little it's a fun little page turner.
Yeah, when I got, like, this is issue 1, it's just sitting here. When I got, like, these pictures of, like, the sky coming in, there's no clouds drawn. There's no lines there. That's not clouds that Ale drew. And Darren just colored them. I mean, Jason just colored them in. He created those. And, like, he really should be almost credited as an artist on the series, because he brought so much to every freaking page. Like I just, every single one comes in and I'm like, this is illegally good. How beautiful you made this book, you know.
And that's even awesome to like hear you say that, because that was something that I would probably never know unless you're telling us, as you see the original like inks and then see the colors thrown in, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the depth, and I mean, if you go through and look where the lines are and where the color is, that all that depth and all that richness, and a lot of times the action and like you're saying, like the freneticness of like the scenes with the waves coming. Again, the waves are invisible. There's nothing to show there. All you can show is how the world is reacting, and like everybody knows when a wave is hitting. There's no mystery.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of upset that you pointed that out because I just like glanced through like the issues and I'm like, man, I literally just read this. I finished this at probably like 9 o'clock, but I'm gonna almost have to like go back and just look at it again because you're not even like there's even like a scene where like even like I'm looking at like this, right? A lot of these like trees in the background don't have ink lines, right?
No.
Like so. And like that's something that I guess I would never like think about, like I just assume that was drawn and then colored that way.
I mean, if you see, to be fair to Ale on this, on the page that you're talking about with like all the trees, if you see the dots, Ale put in all those dots. He did like a crazy amount of like this stipple work. So there are probably the outlines of the trees there that Jason got to go in and put in. But if you look at these scenes with like the light coming through the trees, I mean, it's stupid what he did. That dude, it's too good.
That's something I always appreciate in a book.
Yeah, and I know since we've been doing the show, like we've been kind of paying attention to like letterers and colorers' names, just because like it is, an extra part of the book that makes it better. And like, you can see, I mean, we had both colorist and like letterer awards for our year-end show that we did in February because that's when we did it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, a letterer makes, I think, a huge difference. I mean, it makes a book look professional and not professional when you flip it up to the first page. If I flip it up to the first page and it's like awkward shaped balloons and they're not like the text isn't hugged and it doesn't look good, I'm like, nah, this is gonna be. And that's kind of a lot what you see with indie titles. You see some really poor lettering. Yeah,
it's funny. My wife was
you almost take it for granted if you're reading top published stuff and really mainstream stuff. It's you're definitely taking it for granted at that point.
Yeah.
And it's for colors. It's for me. It's like what takes it from like the I really really like this book to like I love this book. Like when that's a lot of times the difference maker, where it's just like when you get that page turn and it's just that different view.
Yeah, I mean art. I like drawing is magic, but coloring is like straight up alchemy. I don't understand how they can make something glow. They make it glow. Right. I look at the page and I'm like, well, that's glowing. It's a static image on a piece of paper, but I can see it's glowing. You have now tricked my brain into thinking this thing, and it's, I don't know. That is like super amazing to me. And they'll do it in, like we said, they'll do it in like a day.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy too because you have like people like like Matt Kint or like Hillary Jenkins where they're like doing like watercolors on paper, and like that's the thing. Like I remember there was another channel that we talked to, like Whack Comics. I don't know if you've seen them. I know they're in Bruce and Stephanie's chat a lot, but like they had her on, and she was saying like she just gets the page and paints on it, and like what if you make a mistake?
Yeah, I was looking at
fix watercolor.
I guess it's probably pretty hard. I don't know how it works. Looking at going back to Coda from this, I swear, Mateus, I can't say his name, Baranga or something like that, who does the art. He'll like, I thought it was all digital, but I think a lot of it is practical. And he was like using cardboard to draw on because he wanted that background color in there. And I'm like, dude, you're insane. What is happening right here? So,
and I think too, like even Matt Kent, like his lit pages on fire to like purposely have them look like different. And it's just like, all right, I guess you guys are smarter than me because I really enjoy what's happening here, but it's something I would never think of, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's I mean, that for me, that's kind of where the love of comics come from. It's so much work put into something that someone's going to stare at for like 22 seconds per panel, and then and it's going to cost them $3 to buy the whole thing. When a greeting card costs you $5.
Yeah,
I'm
which
like,
is insane.
there's no way that this much art should be this inexpensive and this good. It's just it's ridiculous. It's stupid that we make comics. I'm so glad that we do, because I'll love them forever.
Well, and some greeting cards don't even have wonderful writing inside. It's just like
No.
happy birthday.
Yeah.
And that's it. You got to come up with the rest all on your own.
Yeah. And it's
But
not
it's got a
20
picture of a
or
cute dog
22
on the
pages.
Yeah.
It's a 4-page script that they only write text on maybe 2 of the pages. Like, this is BS, man.
Yeah.
I should be doing greeting cards
Right?
where the real money
You
is.
probably really should.
Where the real money
Yeah.
is.
That'd be funny though. Like if like you pitch this idea to Vault, like why don't we also do this? And then so then like people are like, oh, that's that their Cy Spurrier birthday cards. I'll buy that. Yeah.
Hey. Okay.
I think we came up with it, and we need
Yeah.
to pivot the ball.
Yeah. Let's pivot. Let's pivot this to greeting card burrito.
Yeah.
I would definitely go to my comic book store and buy, like, if I needed a card for happy birthday, it's like, I'm going to Comic Signal. They got the Vault ones.
Yeah.
I got to get one of those. I got to get one of those resident birthday cards. It's
it's got
sure.
Bird on the cover. It's great.
Yeah.
Right, this is how you're making a ton of money.
There we
11
go.
through 15 in
Yes.
greeting card format, and also
$5
$5
for each 4 pages. I'll do that, man.
Ooh, man, that's gonna stress me out so much.
Does it come with a free envelope, or is that extra?
You got to buy.
Yeah,
You got to
has to
extra
be
for the
included.
envelope. Yeah.
All right, so this is going to be kind of a weird question, but we started this during like the pandemic. So something that started with our original fans was to ask us to do a pants check. So do you want to, we just do the honorable wearing pants, because this is a serious podcast.
I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing shorts. It's California.
It's okay. You're in California. Yeah, we're in Michigan. I mean, I saw a girl today. It was 46 degrees, and I saw a girl wearing a sundress.
Oh no!
Because it's Michigan. I saw another group of 2 girls. One was wearing like not Daisy Dukes, but fairly short shorts, and the other just had a skirt on, and both short sleeves. And I was like, I mean, I'm out in a short sleeve and jeans, but still.
As soon as the snow melts, people in Michigan are just like, it's summertime.
Oh yeah, when it's below 60 here, people are bundled up. Like the snowpocalypse is coming. They're like, it's
You're wearing a North Face jacket.
No, it's 40 degrees outside, but if the sun is out, you'll see a guy in shorts and flip-flops walking around the grocery store.
Yeah,
I think it was like mid 60s today, maybe 70s.
I mean, to be fair, I was in flip-flops and sport shorts and a hoodie sweeping my garage earlier today, just because it needed to be done, and I was wearing those throughout the house.
I should have done that today. I didn't.
So I think the other most important question of the night for you is, if you are curating the perfect burrito for yourself, what are the toppings that you're going to include?
Well, I mean, I got to go beans and rice, probably like chicken. I like a nice chicken burrito. Some onions, maybe a little bit of peppers. If you get a little fajita veg, and then since it's California, guac and sour cream and cheese. I like it wet, so I want the red sauce, and I'll probably do half red, half green. Yeah.
That's very fancy. Yeah, I also never knew that you could do that.
I didn't know you could get away with that.
That's a standard burrito here. That's literally what I get from the place down the street. Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to know, is it like a diced chicken or is it like a shredded chicken?
Never shredded chicken. Never. Okay. So this is like it's got to be like a grilled chicken that you chop up afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. I think boiled shredded chicken is the devil. I think it's the worst thing you could do to a chicken. Just because you put it in water doesn't mean it doesn't dry out. Okay, so follow Alton Brown, listen to the man, because you're denaturing the protein in the chicken that's going to dry it out. It doesn't matter if it's wet on the outside or not. You're ruining the collagen inside the chicken. You're cooking it too long, and it's going to be dry. You're going to have moist outside, dry inside chicken. It's straight garbage. Okay? Get a nice thigh. Don't use big old thick chicken breast. Get a nice thigh. Chop it up afterwards, a little marinade. I'll usually do a little lime juice, water, maybe a little oil in there, like an olive oil, and then you put in like chili pepper, cumin, cayenne, red pepper flake, garlic, and let that sit for 20, 40 minutes before you cook it, maybe overnight if I'm feeling adventurous, and then throw it on the grill till it's done. Chop it immediately. Come on.
Yeah.
So I've noticed a pattern here. The two biggest rants you've went on is boiled chicken and hot dog sandwich. Do you have other food rants that you want to give us while you're here?
Let's go. What do you want to talk about? Food. I am into it. I'm the cook. I'm the cook of the household. So I wish I had more energy and time for actual cooking. I used to do it a lot more. Now I'm just tired all the time. So it's like whatever I can make fast.
I actually made chicken thighs 4 different ways yesterday because I set up some TVs in my garage so I could have 2 of my friends over and we could watch some basketball. And
nice.
It was pretty good. I'm a big fan of chicken thighs lately, which I've never really had, but you're right. They are extremely better. And like we have, both Nick and I have a Traeger. So you just kind of like throw them in there for like 40 minutes and it's like, this is beautiful.
Yeah. This is what I said. This is what I said to my partner. We're walking through like Home Depot, and they had a bunch of Traegers there. And I'm all, when people cook on those, they don't say they're cooking on the grill. They always say they're cooking on the Traeger. You gotta say the name. You gotta say the name.
Well, it's funny.
You pay extra so that you can say that.
Yeah, they give you a little card, a little laminated card.
It's like when people say, "I'm gonna call you." Like I gotta. Oh, where's my iPhone? You don't say, "Where's my phone?" You gotta say, "Where's my iPhone?" Yeah.
It is fun. I mean,
we're gonna jump in the Porsche. We're gonna jump in the Porsche, guys. You guys want to take a ride? Gotta take a ride of the Porsche. I gotta get some gas for my Traeger.
Yeah.
You don't even have gas; it's pellets.
Whatever. Yeah.
Which the weird thing about it too is it's actually almost more similar to baking in an oven than cooking on a grill in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to like preheat it.
Yeah, you set the temperature. And you're like, yeah.
You just kind of let it go.
I'm doing chicken thighs with. I have to. I'm gonna marinate them in the brine for the last.
That's what I did with half of them.
And then
if you're not brining your chicken, there's something wrong with you.
Well, we just started making hot sauce, so we'll take the brine from the peppers and save it, and then brine the chicken in it. So it's pretty good. It just adds like all that extra seasoning to it of pepper and
Have you done it
onion
yet? Does it make it spicy? Because my last batch of hot sauce was really spicy. And I'm
so
worried that the kids won't eat.
First batch I did was mainly just habanero, or it was my jalapeno one that I saved. That one did make it pretty spicy, but this most recent batch I did, it was the habaneros. I had red bell pepper, onion, and garlic, and it really just had a really oniony, garlicky flavor and didn't have any heat.
Good.
My last one was habaneros, and it's so hot.
It's probably going to be pretty hot. If like
I might cut it with like I might make another batch and like cut it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like figure out too because you just
habaneros.
I mean, I would take a sip of the brine, and if the brine's probably spicy, I mean, it's not going to be great, but it'll help you go from there.
It's just salt water.
Yeah, if you guys see me no longer doing vault books, you'll know it's because me and Adrian Wassel had a little throwdown on Twitter of Old Bay versus Tony Chachery's Creole seasoning.
Which one is the one that we should be using?
Which one is the one that we should be
Tony
using?
Chachery's. It's in a green. It's a green bottle, a green shaker. Tony Chachery's. Put it on literally everything. Makes it everything better.
We can get it here because I use Old Bay a lot.
Yeah, I can get Old Bay in the store. I had to get Tony's on Amazon. They used to be able to find it every once in a while, like one of our better grocery stores. but I couldn't find it recently, so I had to get it on Amazon.
I just looked it up. I don't think that we have a store called Meijer, which is loosely a Walmart, but not Walmart. It's local-ish, but it's huge. And I don't think that they have that there.
Yeah.
I've never seen this, but I like the like old-looking guy in the pot of probably gumbo.
And so like my family's originally from the New Orleans area, and so I spent a lot of time in the South. I was born and raised in California, but a lot of my family's still down there. And I used to have, that my dad had it, and we put it on everything. And I used to have them ship it out to me before things like Amazon were really popular, because he could get it at the local grocery store, and he would just send it in the mail to me when I would run out. So I don't put pineapple on a pizza, Sam, but I'm not against it. I mean, I'm not gonna beat somebody up for having pineapple on a pizza. If you put pineapple on a pizza, I'm gonna flick it all off until it's not. You don't put a fruit on a pizza. It's a fruit.
He's like, it's totally fine. No.
No.
If
I fold that pizza, is it a sandwich? No, it's not.
Nick
a
has brought that question
not a
up too.
sandwich.
That was my defense of hot dog isn't a sandwich. I said if I take a New York slice and I fold it in half, it doesn't.
Is that a sandwich? Right? Is a bagel dog a sandwich? You're like, oh, I'm gonna eat this delicious sandwich. No,
I mean, a bagel dog is at a sandwich shop. That's where you buy it, right?
If you put a bagel dog in the middle of a bagel, it's not.
Yeah. So no, Lauren. My partner. Lauren,
people are going after you now, David, because the tomato.
I know tomato is a fruit, but you don't eat it like a fruit. You don't treat it like a fruit. Yeah. It's treated like a vegetable. Yes, tomato is a fruit. Yes, we all know that. No one's getting one up on anybody. Knowing tomato is a damn fruit. We all know that.
Everybody knows it's a fruit.
Everybody knows it's fruit.
I like pineapple on my pizza as long as I have something spicy. Like it's got to be pineapple and like jalapeno or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. I'm not gonna look. I don't look down.
I never order it. I'm never like, ooh, and I want that up too.
Yeah. I'm not gonna look down on people that do it. I know you don't have good taste. It's fine. It's fine. You just don't know what is delicious.
There's a pizza place here that also puts strawberries on a pizza.
Which one?
Come on.
The Mitten.
Oh,
it's like
hipsters and they're weird.
It's like goat cheese, arugula, and strawberries, and I think they call it Strawberry Fields of Dream. They're also like a baseball themed.
You're trying too hard.
I'm not gonna lie. They might still make some of the best pizza in this city.
Yeah, I've had mashed potatoes on a pizza, and that's pretty good.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah, or pickles. Are you into the pickle pizza? I assume.
I haven't had it. I love pickles.
Hot pickles are like deep fried pickles are so good, and it's the same type of thing when you get on the pizza and they get all heated up. It's good.
But I mean, you can put about just anything on a pizza. Come on, it's a pizza.
You could put a sandwich on a pizza.
You could, but you wouldn't call pizza a sandwich.
No.
Sandwich pizza. I mean, they make
pizza.
cheeseburger pizzas, and don't they make taco pizzas?
Yeah.
What would you, if it was a Chicago deep dish versus New York, where would you fall on that debate?
So here's the thing. Here's the thing about New York pizza. You can get a New York pizza, a good New York pizza, literally anywhere in New York. Like, dude on the corner selling a piece of pizza, you're gonna put that in your mouth. You're gonna go, that's a freaking good piece of pizza. Chicago deep dish, there's probably only like one or two places to get it really good. Like most places that are making deep dish pizzas are making garbage. I think we went to, Gino's East or something like that in Chicago when we were there for C2E2. Yeah, something like that. And that was one of the best pizzas I've ever had in my life. With the sausage at the bottom.
Yeah.
I think that's like the big one, and the other one, I think there's one called like Illuminati's, and that's
I think we went. Yeah, I think we went to that one, and I didn't like it as much as the other one.
I think they do something weird, like cornbread crust or something weird like that too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, that's garbage.
My brother-in-law likes that place, and he is a very big pizza stickler.
Yeah. So I mean, I think New York, you can get a good New York slice anywhere in New York. If you're in Manhattan. you know, it does. You can turn a corner, and I think anything's good. I don't know quality wise. I haven't tried a ton of New York pizzas. Like I've had it from enough places that I'm like, okay, this is all pretty good. But deep dish, I would not order it at any place other than someplace that's specialized in deep dish. Like we have a place called Chicago Fire out here.
There it is, Giordano's.
Yeah.
They opened a location in Holland, which is like 30, 40 minutes west of us in Michigan. And I went there.
There?
Yeah. The only problem is that it takes an hour to cook your casserole pizza, which is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
great, but they won't let you call ahead. So you show up and like order your pizza, and then you just have to sit there and order drinks. I mean, it's brilliant, but
yeah,
it's like you don't want to show up hungry. You early.
You have to prep to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. You get a New York pizza's done in 6 minutes. Like, here you go. Here's a pizza.
Yeah, have a snack before you go because you're gonna be hungry by the time your pizza shows up.
Bring a sandwich.
Yeah, bring a sandwich or a hot dog.
Like a hot dog.
Or a hot dog. A sandwich
or a hot dog.
Yeah.
Or like. Then we got into a weird discussion. Like, is a wrap technically a burrito?
I don't know. I think
now we're tacos.
For me, a burrito, you know, you have to have like the basic. It has to be Mexican in origin. There has to be maybe some rice, some beans, something that links it back to, you know, chorizo if it's a breakfast, or, you know, at least some spices that make it feel like a burrito. Everything else is a wrap. I don't know.
Yeah, because I feel like even like if you got one at Denny's.
I'm not a big fan of a bunch of raw fish rolled up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to take a nice full bite of like tons of raw fish all at once. That's what's been missing. My sushi, my tiny little curated sushi experience, what's been missing is shoving a bunch of it into my mouth all at once. That's the missing ingredient.
Right.
Yeah.
It works.
Not everything.
I don't like it because when I get sushi, I like to get a whole bunch of different kinds of rolls and different things. So when I saw that on the menu, I'm like, that sounds great, but I don't want to commit to just the one thing. So
yeah, that's what everybody. I mean, everybody orders a little bit of everything, and you pick off of this and try a little bit of this, and no, I don't like that. That's gross, and this is good. I mean, that's a lot of. You got to really just go all in on that one kind of raw fish. I don't know. That feels like they're just handing you a reconstituted whole fish that you're just chomping on like a caveman.
Well, and I also figure if any fish has gone bad, if you spread it out, you have a better chance of getting through it alive, right? Like you only had a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really think of sushi as like being carefully prepared and cut correctly, and like these sushi chefs like train for years to be able to make these sashimi cuts and do all this stuff, and then there's also this giant burrito shoved with a bunch of it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that we've learned is that, I mean, if you roll a comic book into a burrito, you can get people to show up and talk to you about comic books that they write. So maybe burritos are the key to anything, right?
You know what? The burrito gets me here every time.
Oh, well.
I don't know if I have any other weird food rants to throw into. Have you tried Detroit style pizza before? Because this is also something Nick and I will fight about.
Ooh.
I don't. What is that? Little Caesars?
Technically,
well, that was when they take a huge thick piece of crust and then they put a little bit of toppings on top, and then they're like, "Here's your pizza."
Jets is the biggest franchise version of
like,
it. If you have that,
the crust soaks up all the grease.
I'm not a fan.
And it's just a heavy. I don't like it. I wish I did. Like Detroit is so close, and I wish I could be like, yeah. No.
I guess I'm on the wrong side of every battle so far tonight. So this just makes me feel uncomfortable, and maybe I don't need to find the third issue of Resonant.
Yeah, you're like, I'm
kidding,
good.
I'm still looking for it.
No, if I can't have like a good New York style, then I want thin crust. So I'm just not the crust type guy. Like that's all.
Yeah.
That is. I don't need the bread really. Like I'm. Yeah.
Well, I think crust is where a lot of people go bad in pizza, you know, and it's like you get the most of it, and then it's not good, and you're like,
it's just a ratio. It's the same problem I have with the Chicago casserole is that it's the ratio just isn't. It's just not right.
Yeah, it's it's a harder pizza to execute, right? You know, so you gotta you can't just like casually do a Chicago style pizza. It's not. It's like there's multiple steps and different layers and.
Steve's back.
We did ask the perfect burrito.
You'll have to catch on the rewind.
Yeah,
flippity floppity. And then we went into
and honestly, if I'm gonna be totally honest, it's not even a burrito; it's a chimichanga because you got to deep fry that sucker after you do everything, and then put the red and green sauce on the top, and then some sour cream on the top.
I think
and then
might
maybe
be the
melt some more
first person
cheese.
to say to deep fry it.
Yeah, you are.
That's ridiculous. Everyone should say that.
I think technically though, like I still think of a chimichanga as a burrito. Like it's just a burrito that's been deep fried, right? And Deadpool.
I mean, it can't make it worse, right? Yeah. What can you deep fry and make worse? You know,
I worked at a restaurant when I was like 18, and one of the girls that I worked with, she was like she was going to school, like culinary school, and was actually like a really good chef, you know. And every time we would change the oil in the fryer, she'd just start deep frying random stuff. So she took we had like 3 slices of cheesecake, and she made like a graham cracker crumb around them, deep fried it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so delicious. And if I could eat this every day, but then I'd be fatter than I already am.
Yeah, I worked at a pizza place. I worked at a pizza place for a couple of years when I was in high school. Mountain Mike's, which is a chain here, I think just in California. I'm not sure how far out they go. But we had a deep fryer because we did French fries and burgers, which are not sandwiches, at my my location. And so we would deep fry, like we'd try to make donuts out of the pizza dough and stuff, and like we'd deep fry whatever we could find. Just like that's our little snack.
I mean, in Texas, I'm pretty sure they deep fry butter and put it on a stick. And people eat it. I mean, the fish place that we go to deep fries Oreos, and I haven't gotten it the past couple times. Oh, they don't have them anymore?
Well, I've been getting the Lent special to get all the fried clams and stuff. So maybe once I'll check next week.
Yeah, we have we got them.
In Sacramento, we have the state fair here, and like they always have something new. You know, deep fried Oreos I've had, and cheesecake, and Snickers bars, and ice cream, and deep fried just about everything.
I don't think that it would be a dessert.
What's your favorite thing that's deep fried? What's your favorite thing?
I think the Oreo is really good because it kind of like melted the cookie as well. That was
it's a little bit softer.
Yeah, that was like a really, and the deep fried cheesecake is always, you can always go to that. That's like that's a no-brainer.
Stuff is surprisingly, like it seems weirder, right, to have like deep fried ice cream or Oreo or something, but for whatever reason, that oil just kicks up the chocolate and stuff up a notch. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
No, it's the perfect little ending. Yeah. I might go pickle though too. I like my deep fried pickles. Although deep fried pickles also can be just really bad too.
I've had some terrible ones.
Yeah, they can. Which is disappointing when I get excited for it, and then it's like, we have a place right by our house that does like chips, like pickled chips, and they are not good.
I feel like chips usually should be better than this.
They should be, but it's like
by default.
The batter like falls off them, and it's just the spears. Just I don't know. There's something about it that just doesn't work. But Tony Paco's deep fried pickles that are a spicy pickle are really good in Toledo, Ohio.
Oh man, I thought you were talking about the Tony Chetchery stuff that he was talking about for a second. I had to click over to my tab of seasoning to be like,
No,
wait,
Tony,
did Nick also uses this?
You used to be able to get Tony Packo's pickles from Meijer, but now I think you have to get them on Amazon. Crushed Grape might have them too. Some of the smaller places, or even Family Fare. They're good. So, well, I think that's about all I have.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks we like your book a lot. Everyone should buy Resonant Volume 1.
Please do.
One is out. I know the Poser's been dropping the link
out.
from the Vault store, and there are 3 more issues to track down.
There's a couple more issues on eBay, or a couple more packs, but I got the best price one. So.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Although I'm looking for 5 through 8 now. So.
Well, 6, 7, and 8 should be still orderable.
You can definitely get those are all orderable too.
Oh yeah, so I'll let
Diamond,
know when they
get. Yeah, I mean 8 just came out the 3rd, so 2 weeks ago.
What was we had something else that you sent us?
Oh, my self-published stuff.
Yep.
Is that something that's out that people can find?
People can find it. Yeah, so that's on my Ghost Thunder. So I'm in a little collective here in Sacramento that a couple of friends, Chris Alvarez and Hannah Moore, and we've done cons together and put out self-published stuff for years. My buddy Christopher is a big wrestling fan, so he's some dope wrestling prints on there. So go to ghostthunder.com and don't read anything on the website and click directly to the store because I haven't updated the website in like 4 years. But if you go to like the Ghost Thunder Store Envy store, you can see his prints. I might have copies of. It's called The Wild Uncertain, and it was a 4-issue
it just dropped
relationship
the link to the
drama
page.
Yeah. So it's basically a couple and their story from beginning to end. And so the first issue is kind of they meet, have one night together. There's stuff that happens, and then the second issue picks up 5 years later. The third issue picks up 5 years after that, and the last issue is like 10 years after that, the third one. So
that's very exciting. I read the first part like just before we went live. I read the first, it was very good.
So that was
very beginning. You mentioned something about writing dialogue or something, and I immediately thought of that. I'm like, no, it's like it was awesome. Like it was all dialogue.
Yeah, that was like and I mean I'm a big fan of dialogue too. I don't like exposition, and you'll see there's not any exposition really in Resonant. There's no like captions and stuff like that. I mean, it has its place sometimes, and if people use it well, it's fine. I think it's overused, and it can be like a real crutch for people to like tell, not show. But I'm a huge fan of dialogue, and that's a relationship drama, so it's basically just a crap ton of dialogue, and so I feel I get nervous when I start putting too many words in things. I think people are going to get bored, so I try to move stuff.
I was locked into it, and then I was worried that I had to like force myself not to start the second one. So I'm like, I'm not going to be able to stop. And then I'm going to be late for the show. Yeah. And I think I've been late to the show more than anyone else. So
you just see Nick in the background on his like tablet, just
you'll see me. I won't be listening to you actually talking because I'm reading.
So if people go on Twitter and search the hashtag The Wild Uncertain, which is the name of the book, I'm pretty sure you can still find the whole Last Supper, which is the first chapter of that. I put it up page by page in a tweet thread. So you can read the whole first issue for free on Twitter. If you just search hashtag The Wild Uncertain.
I would try to find that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I'm already like $6,000 in debt on that thing. I'm never going to make my money back.
He was like, here it is.
Here it is. I've sold I think I've sold 120 copies of it total, like the single issues. And so whatever. It was like that was the very first thing I wrote, really, that I wrote to be produced. So the fact that it's not terrible makes me happy, because a lot of times the first things like people work on is not great, and it shouldn't be great because you're not that good at it yet. You haven't practiced a lot. So basically, that was a lot of my practice and kind of getting used to the mechanics of writing comics and seeing what the script looked like once I got it back from the artist, and making sure that I was clear and describing things the way that I wanted them, and and then see if people liked how I wrote. That's you don't know that. You don't know that. I mean, I didn't. Maybe other people automatically know people are going to like what they write, but I didn't know that. So I had to put some stuff out. I had to finish it. I had to see it kind of live and breathe on its own and see how people responded to it. And it's on Comixology too. I think it's 99 cents on Comixology if you like to read it digitally. That's The Last Supper should be on Comixology if you just search my name.
The first of four.
Yeah, and I just found it. I retweeted it and put the Comic Burrito one on. I couldn't like pick the link from it and try and just paste it in the chat for people, but you can find it. And I think too, if they go to your Twitter, you do have bookmarked or pinned the first issue of the Resonant too.
Yes,
So
first issue Resonant you can get, so you can read it. They put it up on Bleeding Cool, but actually you can go to the Vault site, the Vault page, and you can download it and own it for free. You can so if you go to Vault, they actually have first issues of a ton of their titles for free. And you're reading it as a PDF, which I don't enjoy. I enjoy Comixology does a really good job at the scanning and sweeping and stuff. I'm not a big fan of reading digital comics, period. But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it on Comixology, just because it's I can't read a PDF, man. That's so torturous.
Yeah, I know if you get stuff from Humble Bundle, they do the CBZ file, I think is what it's called, and those read just like a Comixology one.
Okay, that's nice.
I have the most god awful free PDF viewer apps that are just different than
on Kindle too.
On Kindle, and it's still so much better than just like scrolling through a PDF.
I mean that was like for me, who I don't know anything about anything, technical. That was if I didn't have Christopher Alvarez fixing all my documents constantly because the resolution was off on this panel and this one's not like centered correctly on the PDF. I'm like, I literally have no idea. I have a phone and I have a Chromebook that I use just to write. That's it. I don't have an iPad. I don't have any like Adobe whatever's. Nothing. I got none of that knowledge. So it just getting that thing up on Comixology was a monumental effort. I think the first 2 chapters are up there. Crown of Thorns is the second one, and that's up there too. But it was too much of an ask for me to have people help me that much, so I didn't put 3 and 4 up there. I'm like, screw it. You can read the first 2 chapters and then suck it. No more for you.
Just give me some money at least, and
then So then once I was done with all 4 single issues, it took me about a year in between each one because I had to pay the artist, pay the letterer, pay for printing, and so it was like a year between each one. And then once I got them all done, then I just put it into the 1 volume. So the single issues, I don't sell them anymore. So because they're a pain in the butt to sell like a $5 comic book. It's much easier to sell like a $15 or $20 trade. Yeah. So that's if you go through the Ghost Thunder site on Store Envy, you can see all of Chris's cool ass wrestling prints, and got my book on there and some other random garbage that we sell at conventions if they ever come back.
Next year.
I hope. Yeah. And, I miss them now.
I did add to the show notes the Ghost Thunder stuff. So if somebody's here, you can just go to the show notes and it should still be there for that.
Yeah, I mean, that was like a big part of me kind of learning, how to do this stuff, was like working with them and like putting our stuff out together and working conventions. And fun.
Apparently, Poster wants us to ask about your Kickstarter.
I don't have. So I'm gonna be in the Off Into the Sunset, I believe it's called, the Kickstarter.
Oh yeah,
Brent.
that's what he had mentioned.
Yeah, so Brent Harshman is curating that one, and me and Christopher from my Ghost Thunder days, he's going to be illustrating the story that I wrote in there, and it's a wacky, crazy, very kind of sillyish Western story. So flexing some different muscles. Yeah, it's going to be cool. Then there's a ton of good creators in there, and it's going to be dope. So find that on Kickstarter and follow it, and then when it comes out, support it.
When did you say that starts?
I think it's gonna launch next month. I think he said sometime in April.
And what did you say the name was again?
I think it's Off Into the Sunset, or Out Into the Sunset, or Into the Sunset. I don't know. I'm on my phone, so I can't look it up.
Yeah, I was just going to try and find the Kickstarter real quick so that people can.
Yeah.
I think Poe there knows, so he could probably say.
I don't know. My brain's like fried. So
now apparently I'm trying to start my own project because I clicked the wrong.
I couldn't find it. I don't know. I couldn't find it on Kickstarter. I can only find it from Brent's link. So Brent with 2 T's, Harshman on Twitter. He will be tweeting about it constantly, hopefully to promote it, and I will be tweeting about it. So just follow me. Yeah, that's the only place to follow me is Twitter.
It is called Off Into the Sun. Wow. Well, good thing he has it pinned up for us.
Yeah.
And I already follow Brent, so fun.
There you go. So yeah, it's going to be good. There's a lot of good creators in that, and just trying to get stuff made. It's hard.
And it sounds like you do have a lot of stuff. So I know you mentioned coming to C2E2. If there's another C2E2 in, I don't know, what did they say for this year? They're thinking about August, which maybe still doesn't seem feasible. But if there's one in like 2022, do you think you'll plan on coming to that?
I don't know. I haven't done a C2E2 in a long time because so when I kind of help Skybound with their booths, I go to the biggest shows that are super busy. And C2E2 is not a super busy show. So I've usually just do San Diego, Emerald City are the two. And then every once in a while I'll do New York. When Skybound was first starting out, they didn't have like any employees. They had, Cena and Sean, and that's it. And so I did every show. I did, Long Beach, and we went to Fan Expo Toronto. And so just basically I was single and I didn't have anything else to do with my life. So I used all my vacation time to go do conventions. And then they started hiring people, and they have workers now, and they don't really need me as much. So I will probably stick with the San Diego and Emerald City. Those are basically my 2 favorite shows. And if they let me come, I will come and work their booth and get a free hotel room and a food.
That's always nice. I've definitely considered going to Emerald Con. I still am kind of scared about San Diego.
That's the best one. Emerald City is the best one. I've been to a lot of them. I've been to a ton of shows. Emerald City is still the best. New York is getting better. It was kind of a wreck when it first started. There's so many people, and it's so hard to organize. They've done a better job getting that thing together. That I didn't hate it the last time I went. And San Diego is actually better now that they've moved stuff out of the convention hall into the surrounding hotels because it's not so crowded. But as far as a comic book convention, Emerald City's the best. It's so comic book focused, and all the creators are there, and the Artist Alley is amazing. You can spend 2 days just wandering Artist Alley easy, and not see everything cool. So I'm a big fan of that show.
Yeah, I've really only been to. We have a local one here called Grand Rapids, which is very small. We have like, but it's really weird because for the longest time we always had Kevin Eastman came like to every single one, and now he doesn't anymore. And then I've been to C2E2, and C2E2 was perfect for me as like I'm not stressed, and there's like a ton of huge names, but there's also a lot of small names too. Like I remember like I don't know, like, you know, you could walk up to Matt Kant and hand him a book, and he would spend 5 minutes putting a picture in your book for you and be like, here, enjoy this. And I'm like, you write for like everyone.
Yeah.
And you're just drawing me this picture.
It's big, but it's not that busy. So it's a nice show as a fan. I did my very first signing at C2E2. Comixology, when I got the Last Supper on there, they were doing their like Submit, which is their portal for like self-published stuff. And so they reached out to some Submit creators who were gonna be there, and they like hosted a signing. And with every book I sold, they gave them a free T-shirt. So I sold a ton of books. It was awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, well, people are buying it for the T-shirt, but whatever, I'll take it. I mean, you still got to give me the money. So, yeah, that was fun. That was a fun show.
Yeah, I think we'll get some shows back.
Yeah.
At the very end of this year, they might be smaller. They might have some weird like capacity rules or something.
And I would assume mask requirements and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess depending on your state, if you're
yeah, that's true.
If you're in Texas or something, then maybe
like Florida.
They refuse to let you wear a mask. They rip it off your face before you.
Yeah, they're like, you have to take yours off if you want.
This is America. You can't do.
This is America. You can't be forced to do anything. Now take your mask off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and really, who knows? Maybe that's gonna be like the norm almost for giant, like for giant conventions moving forward.
Honestly, so with working all the conventions I've worked, I pretty much get sick after almost every single one because there's just too many people breathing in your face and you're touching money and they're shaking hands and you know what? I'm wearing a mask from now on. Y'all can just deal with it because it sucks being sick because you're like you take all this time off work and then you go back to work and you feel like garbage for the week. And so I mean we started mainlining airborne and emergency and like hand sanitizing everything even before this. I mean I want 6 feet between me and most people coming up to the booth to buy stuff anyways. And I will absolutely wear a mask from now on. I think I'm just tired of being sick.
I thought of that the other day. I was talking to somebody, and I'm like, I'm not one that usually like. I don't usually get like really sick, or I'm not like always sick, but I get sick. I get like a flu and a cold and all that. I haven't been sick in over a year. It's been kind of great. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still work. I mean, my day job. I'm a physical therapist, and I still see patients all day long. Mostly in person now. We were doing all like video visits before, but mostly in person now. I haven't been sick in a year. I'm like,
I know, it's awesome. I work retail.
Jeez,
this is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not mad at the mask. I'll keep wearing the mask. I'm getting a nice collection and have my variety to choose from, and we should all be washing our hands anyways. Come on, everybody, you're gross. Wash your damn hands.
You were doing that before? What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, that was like the first Facebook post when like people were doing that. Like somebody was like, the thing that I've learned that's really made me scared for the world is how many people need to be told how to wash their hands.
Yeah.
Why is that something we're teaching adults now?
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I don't need anybody blowing on a cake and then giving me that piece of spit cake to eat. That was gross. Why did we do that? Let's stop that anyways. It's not a sandwich. Okay. Don't blow on my cake. Let's not share drinks. Keep all your gross ass germs to yourself. Another rant. There you go. I'll go on a Stephanie style rant. Everybody drink.
Well, I mean, maybe we're going to get a fishbowl. C2E2 and share it together.
Right. That was like a thing. There was a whole place in Sacramento called the Punch Bowl where that's what they did. You got this giant drink that y'all put your gross mouths close to, and then you suck from straws, and then it went back into the drink. Come on, you.
Now they're just going to be 6-foot straws, so it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's alcohol, right? It should kill everything, I guess.
It should, but
Ugh. Keep your hands off my apps too. We're not sharing anymore. These Southwestern egg rolls are mine.
oh yeah.
Nick assumed you were talking about your computer app, or like
No,
at first he had like a thought of realization when he said that. I feel
no.
like.
This is California. We call them apps. I don't know what they call them.
Apps inserts.
Yeah, apps and zerts. No, I don't. No one says that. That's disgusting.
The guy from Parks and Rec does, but
Yeah.
Tom.
yeah, Tommy. Well, I think we might be able to wrap this one if you guys are ready. So I'm gonna play this outro graphic again for you to see yourself or your comic driving a burrito.
Terrible.
No,
My comic is a terrible driver.
I just noticed that like Todd, who made this, is the only one that does not have an unflattering picture.
Yeah, that's obviously how he likes to roll with these type of things. But I mean,
like,
mine's very flattering. I have my shirt off and I'm flexing and showing my muscles. I did that for charity after I shaved my mustache for charity.
Yeah, and he just picked the one time that I had a little bit too much to drink. Just the one time that happened.
Just once. It's only been once, surprisingly. I've been pretty flattered by it, but yeah. I'm Cole.
I'm Nick.
I'm David.
I did. I said it. Buy Resonant.
Oh, yeah. Buy Resonant.
Buy Resonant.
Make sure you do it.
And all the other books.
Yes.
Yeah. Buy all my next books that come out and the ones after that so I can keep making them.
Yeah.
Bye.
And all the books from Vault.
Yes.
Just buy every comic book and I think you'll be safe.
Just
like maybe we could exclude like some DC and Marvel stuff you don't like.
I think Marvel and DC are good. They're good. Yeah. They're making their money. Buy everybody else below them. Go.
Well, now. DC, I know we're wrapping it up, but I just saw that DC is raising the price to their books to $6.
Yeah.
For a standard 20-page comic book?
Yeah, for like Batman, $6. I think I'm out.
I mean, the only way that I would do that is if they included the digital Comixology version immediately free, and I just got that at like midnight.
Yeah.
Here's the only way it would actually work is they put a greeting card in it, and you got the greeting card and the comic because the greeting card's $5.
Dude, a Brian Michael Bendis greeting card. I give that
untapped.
To my mother-in-law, and I'm like, "This is Brian Michael Bendis."
Untapped market.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
He created Jessica Jones. Also, bye, guys.
Bye.